Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the first part of, What If Naruto Enters Hazbin Hotel? Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of KFB Anime 87 on fanfiction.net. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. Pentagram City. It was a normal day in Pentagram City, which was the main hub of the Pride Ring of Hell. Every demon and sinner in hell was watching a news broadcast on either their phones or a nearby TV. Reason being that the Princess of Hell Charliemorningstar was doing an interview with the news anchor Katie Killjoy. Which wasn't going well, seeing as while the princess was explaining her idea through song, Katie had cut her off and started mocking her idea, leading to a fight between the anchor and the princess. A halfway house for sinners. That's the dumbest idea I ever heard, a demon that looked like a shark said with a laugh along either his fellow shark demons as they watched the fight on the big TV display on a building. Suddenly a figure pushed past the shark demon. Said figure was a male with reddish skin. He had blue eyes and spiky blonde hair. He was wearing what looked like an orange suit along with a black tie. Oops, sorry, the figure said with a nonchalant tone as he walked past the sharks. Hey, do you have any idea who we work for? The shark the figure had pushed past yelled as he walked towards the figure. Yeah, we work for Valentino, one of the verses, one of the other sharks yelled as they all approached the figure. The figure turned around to look at them. I'm sorry, who, my fine fin friend? The figure asked with a smile. One of the sharks gave the figure a look of confusion before his face paled slightly. B-boss, wait a minute, this guy is, he stuttered out before he was cut off. I don't care who he is. We're gonna teach this little SHT some manners. The lead shark yelled as his other men all pulled out Tommy guns. Oh, that's not nice, let's see. I shall perform an introduction and like gentlemen you'll tell me who you are. The figure said casually. All you need to know is that we are lone sharks who work for one of the versus you whiskered BSTRD, the lead shark yelled as they all took aim with their guns. Fair enough, and I'm Naruto Uzumaki, the figure said with a smile and a slight bow. This made the sharks all freeze at this. Naruto? The same Naruto that is the son of the Overlord Kushina? The lead shark asked as he started to lightly sweat. The very same gentleman. Now what did you say you were going to do? Naruto asked as he smiled at them while what looked like a dark aura appeared around him. This caused the shark demons to all instantly take off running while screaming. Why the hell didn't you say something, you idiot? That effer trashed the city years ago just from getting into it with some overlords. The lead shark yelled at his minion as they ran. I tried to tell you, boss, the minion yelled in a panic as they all ran. Much more like it. Wonder who they were working for. Naruto muttered as his aura faded before shrugging as he went on his way, ignoring the demons nearby who all were running away from him just from feeling his power. As he walked he paused and looked up at the TV, which was showing Charlotte or Charlie to him and her friends and family being dragged away from Katie. You think you can take me on beach? I should shove my heels up your bony as you dash, Katie was yelling before she was cut off. We're still live, Katie, her co-anchor Tom said as he tapped her shoulder. Anyway. We wish the Princess of Hell good luck on her foolish endeavor. Katie yelled with a very forced smile as she shoved Tom off screen. Naruto chuckled at this as he shook his head at this. So that's what Charlie is up to. A halfway house for sinners to get rehabilitated into heaven, he said as he looked up at the sky for a few moments before smiling. Perfect, he said as he continued walking. Outskirts of the city. In the outskirts of the city, a hotel with the sign Hazbin Hotel on top of it stood on top of a hill overlooking the city. And outside of it a battle had just ended. Well, if you can call it a battle. It was more of a massacre as what looked like a flying airship was being destroyed by what looked like shadow tentacles, causing it to explode. Standing nearby was Charlie along with several other figures. One was a woman with purplish skin and long violin hair. She also had what looked like a X over one of her eyes. This was Vaggie, Charlie's girlfriend. Another was what looked like a spider demon who had a set of arms. This was Angeldust, a sinner/guest of the hotel. Another looked like a winged cat with symbols you'd see on poker cards, wearing overalls and a top hat. This was Husker, the bartender of the bar. Another was a short one-eyed female with red hair who was wearing a dress and had a feather duster. This was Niffty, the maid of the hotel. And finally there was the figure who had attacked the airship that had showed up to attack them. He was a demon wearing all red and was holding a cane that looked like a microphone. He also had what looked like small horns on the top of his head. He was smiling evilly as he finished destroying the airship. This was Alastor, the radio demon. Well, I'm starved. Who wants some jambalaya? You know my mother had such a recipe. Why, it was practically killer, ha ha ha. Alastor asked as he turned to the others and led the way to the hotel with the others close behind. Do we even have a kitchen in this hotel? Angel asked as they all entered the hotel. Of course we do, though we could probably do with getting some shopping done, Charlie said as she rubbed the back of her head sheepishly. Suddenly everyone paused as they heard some knocking on the front door. Oh, I'll get it. Charlie said as she quickly approached the door. Hold on Charlie, it might be Sir Pentious looking for another round, Vaggie said as she approached the door while reading a spear. She opened the door and pushed her spear forward in a ready stance. Okay you snake dick bag, Vaggie was saying before she was cut off. Hello there dear lady, first time I have heard such a greeting. Naruto said with a smile as he ignored the spear aimed at his face. Oh false alarm Charlie, it's a actual guest. Vaggie yelled over her shoulder. Who is it? Is it a new person wanting to stay here? Charlie asked as she approached, a bright smile on her face before she froze seeing who was at the door. Charlotte, sister. Naruto said happily as he spread his arms wide. Naruto. Charlie squealed happily as she quickly pulled Naruto into the hotel and into a hug. You have a brother? Vaggie asked, raising an eyebrow at this. Well, adopted, Naruto said with a chuckle as Charlie hugged him. Adopted or not, you're still my little brother. Charlie said as she pulled away from him. What brings you around here? Vaggie asked curiously. Well, I saw the news report/fight my big sister here had with that used up witch Katie Killjoy. Nice right hook by the way sis, Naruto said with a snicker while Charlie rubbed the back of her head embarrassed. And you decided to just show up? Vaggie asked curiously. Yup, I figured I would show up and see if sis needed help with this hotel, Naruto said as he looked at Vaggie. That's great. We can always use more help, Charlie said as she smiled brightly at her brother. And what exactly can you do, my whiskered chum? Alastor asked as he approached. I am an expert. What the heck is the radio demon doing here? Naruto was saying as he turned to look at the one who talked and froze as he spotted Alastor. Oh, he just showed up wanting to help with the hotel, Charlie said as she looked at the others who were watching them curiously. Yeah, 'cause he wants to watch demons fail at bettering themselves, Vaggie said with a flat tone of voice. Pleasure to meet a fellow overlord of such esteem and the adopted brother of the princess. What a surprise. Alastor said with a grin as he held out his hand for Naruto to shake. Well, while it's legally known, I don't exactly flaunt it. Also, I'm only a overlord because those jerks started it, Naruto said as he shook Alastor's hand. Ah, I remember that day, the Anarchy district being destroyed by a massive tornado that was on fire. All the screams of terror, Alastor said as he laughed at this. So sis, introduce me to the rest of your staff, Naruto said as he ignored Alastor and turned to look at the others. Charlie smiled at this as she grabbed Naruto's arm and pulled him over to the others. Guys, this is my little brother Naruto. He's gonna be staying here and helping us out at the hotel. Naruto, this is Angeldust, our hotel guest, Husker, our bartender, and Niffty, our maid, she said as she introduced everyone and pointed them out. Hey Prince, Angel said with a flirty tone and a smile at Naruto. Okay, two things: one, I'm into women, so I'm gonna have to respectfully decline, and two, I have a girlfriend who's a hothead if pushed, so watch yourself, Naruto said with a chuckle at Angel as he pouted a bit. Charlie froze hearing this before she turned to look at Naruto, her eyes slightly turning red. I swear if you got back together with Dash, she started yelling before she was cut off. Satan no. Geez sis, give me some credit, Naruto said with a shudder as he thought about his ex. Then who is it? Charlie asked as she calmed down but still gave her brother a sharp glare. So Husker, you're a bartender, right? Naruto asked as he looked at the winged cat demon hoping for a distraction. Under protest, Husker said with a flat tone as he opened a new bottle and started to drink from it. Naruto raised an eyebrow at this, but before he could say anything Niffty was in his face with a mad grin. Hi, I'm Niffty. I clean, are you a bad boy? She asked with a manic smile. Well, not to brag, but I have been called a bad boy amongst other things, my singular optical friend. Naruto said as he pulled her off his face. You were only bad when you were dating her, Charlie growled as she crossed her arms. Indeed, I'm past that phase, I'm more good with buttons you don't push these days, Naruto said as he put Niffty down. Aw, Niffty said as she pouted slightly. So what can you do for the hotel? You haven't told us yet, Vaggie said as she looked at Naruto. I can do a lot of things, my dear, but Dad always told me I was a pretty dandy cook. Naruto said kindly with a smile. Well, we do need a cook, Charlie said as she smiled at this. Finally a real meal in this place, Angel said with a happy smile at this reveal. Now show me to the kitchen from where I'll be working. Naruto said kindly. Follow me little bro, Charlie said as she led the way to the back of the hotel to a pair of double doors. When she pushed them open though, Naruto froze seeing that the kitchen was, well, a dump. Grease and grime everywhere, dirty dishes piled up in every sink, bugs all over the place, and the stove was on fire. Bugs! Niffty yelped with a manic grin as she pulled out a knife and ran into the kitchen trying to stab at the cockroaches. Wow, what a SHT hole, Angel said as he hadn't looked inside this room before. Record scratching sound. Ha 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 ha, I've been waiting forever to do that. Alastor said with a laugh. Did you have been helping my sis and you haven't fixed this? This is a disgrace. Naruto yelled as he looked at Alastor. To be fair, he just got here a little bit before you, Charlie said as he chuckled sheepishly as Niffty started to chase some cockroaches around the messy kitchen. Well, his first order of business should be fixing this so I have a decent place to work, Naruto said as he looked at Alastor. If you're such a good cook, shouldn't you be able to cook in any environment? Alastor asked with a coy grin. Are you questioning my skills? Naruto asked as he gave Alastor a firm look. Oh tension, I have $20 on the strawberry PMP, Angel said with a grin. I'll take that bet, Husker said as he held up said cash. Vaggie sighed at this as she shook her head. Alastor, if you're gonna stay here, please don't antagonize people who stay here, she said as she looked at the radio demon with an exasperated look. Very well, I'll tell you what, Prince, you make me a meal of my choice and depending on how good it is I'll renovate this kitchen, Alastor said as he looked at Naruto. You're on, Naruto said with a grin as he pulled up his sleeves ready to meet this challenge. Okay, everyone out, we can chat while Naruto cooks, Charlie said as she pushed everyone out of the kitchen. Okay, start with how Overlord is your brother, Husker said as he approached the bar and started to make drinks for everyone. Yeah, I'm curious about that too, you never mentioned him before, Vaggie said as she looked at Charlie. Not much to tell, apparently his mom and mine were friends, and when we went to visit her after the yearly extermination we found her home completely destroyed with Naruto locked up in a safety bunker alone, Charlie said as she frowned at the memory from her childhood of finding a destroyed home and finding a child Naruto alone and scared inside a bunker. So your dad was just okay with taking him in? Vaggie asked curiously. Oh sure, he didn't need much convincing after he read a note Naruto had with him, though he was quick to burn it for some reason, Charlie said as she took a drink offered by Husker. Interesting, Alastor said as he also took a drink. Okay, prepare your taste buds, and eat your words. Naruto yelled with a smile as he came into the room while carrying a steaming hot pot of jambalaya which he put on a table nearby. Very well, let's see how good you are, Alastor said as he approached the pot. Sniff, smells like Louisiana. Angel said happily. Well duh, it's a southern dish, luckily I have good connections to get good ingredients, Naruto said with a proud smile. Ingredients don't mean anything unless it's prepared correctly, young man. Now let's see how you did, Alastor said as he took out a spoon and scooped up some jambalaya into it and took a bite. This caused his eyes to slightly widen in shock as he went silent and felt himself think back to happier times with his mother when she would make jambalaya for him when he was a child. So how is it? Vaggie asked curiously as she raised an eyebrow at his silence. Alastor quickly composed himself and swallowed. The food, it's very well made, I tip my hat in respect, Alastor said with a smile and a bow at Naruto. Good to know you can admit when you're wrong, Naruto said with a chuckle at this as he looked at everyone else. Now who else wants some food? He asked as he looked at them. Everyone quickly got in line as Naruto started filling up bowls for them. A week later. It had been a week since Naruto had arrived at the hotel and had joined them as the cook of the hotel. Currently Naruto was coming downstairs from his room and saw everyone but Charlie and Vaggie were in the parlor. Morning everyone. Naruto said as he waved at everyone. Morning Naruto, Angel said as he waved with one of his arms as he sat on a couch. When's breakfast, Prince? Husker asked as he cleaned the bar. I'll get to it as soon as my supplies get here, Naruto said as he nodded at the cat demon. Ding dong. And that should be them, Naruto said as he walked towards the door and opened it, revealing what looked like some hellhounds in business suits. Food delivery for Naruto Uzumaki, one of the hellhounds said as he gestured to a bunch of big wooden boxes behind him. Take them to the kitchen in the back, Naruto said with a smile at them as they started to carry the boxes into the hotel. What's going on? Charlie asked as her and Vaggie came downstairs. And are those hellhounds single? Angel asked, taking a picture of them as they walked by. Just a food delivery from the gluttony ring, ma'am, one of the hellhounds said as he nodded at Charlie as he led his men into the kitchen with the boxes. The gluttony ring? Do you have any idea how expensive that is? Vaggie asked as she glared at Naruto. Relax, I get a discount, Naruto said as he waved his hand dismissively. How? Vaggie asked as she looked at Naruto suspiciously. I got ways, darling, I got ways. Naruto said casually. Well, at least you have the best ingredients now, Charlie said with a smile as the hellhounds left the kitchen, but not before nodding at Naruto as they left. Ugh, venison in a can. Some people can't appreciate proper deer meat. Alastor said disappointedly. Even the canned stuff from the gluttony ring is the best, Alastor, trust me, Naruto said with a grin. Alastor said as he glanced at the can. Well, at least it ain't coming from the greed ring. Oh, and by the way, if we get a shipment it's mine and don't open it. Angel said as he put back a case of angel hair spaghetti noodles. Like I would work with that cheating clownish Christmas tree looking creep, anyway who's hungry? Naruto grumbled out before he looked at everyone. Everyone quickly put up their hands at this. Okay, I'm on it. Chocolate chip waffles sound good, he asked as he approached the kitchen doors. Chocolate, Charlie said with a smile hearing this. Careful Han, you know how you get when you've had too much, Vaggie was saying before she was cut off. Chocolate. Charlie cheered as she rushed to the dining room. Well, I know what I'll be dealing with later. Vaggie said with an eye roll as she followed Charlie. After everyone had eaten breakfast, everyone was sitting in the parlor in front of the TV watching the commercial Alastor had made for the hotel. So what do you think? Alastor asked with a smile at everyone as the commercial ended. I'm sorry, what the F was that? Vaggie asked as she looked at Alastor. Yeah, one note, Alastor, I mean thank you for making this, but maybe the tone is a bit off. We want people to come here and this makes us look, Charlie was saying as she tried to find the right words. Bad, the right word is bad, Vaggie said, deciding to be blunt. I was going for hilarious, Alastor said with a smile. It didn't explain anything about how we're trying to save demons from extermination, which is the entire F-point, Vaggie said firmly. Vaggie is right, Alastor, the commercial was supposed to let demons know we want to help them, Charlie said as she smiled. Well my dear, I haven't been active in hell in some time and everyone remembers me from my radio show, the proper medium to express oneself, but you insisted on this noisy picture box, so I had a little fun with it, Alastor said as he walked around the room. Why aren't you in it? Naruto asked curiously. Because dear fellow, this face was made for the radio. Alastor said as he ran his hand under his own chin while his face went slightly demonic. I can see my efforts will be needed, you know I've made a few commercials in the past, but I have suggestions. Naruto said as he thought about this. Oh no, okay Naruto, what do you suggest? Charlie asked as she looked at her brother. Where's the fun? Naruto asked curiously. Come again. This hotel is for rehabilitation, not a vacation you know. Vaggie said. No, go on, what do you mean, is it not fun enough? I mean we have a massage room. Charlie said, wondering what her brother was talking about. Where's the gym? The pool? The fun, if you want people to come for rehabilitation you should make it fun, enjoyable, give them a reason to want to stay to see the rehab through. I mean Angel, what's making you stay? Free rent, seeing as crack is expensive, Angel said bluntly. Okay, bad example, Naruto said after a few moments of silence. Husker? He asked, hoping to get a better answer. Mostly Alastor is forcing me and Niffty to be here and the free booze I can drink. Husker said. I like being forced, Niffty said with a smile as she popped up next to Husker. Keep that to yourself, Husker said with a shudder. Okay, and you Alastor? Naruto asked as he looked at the radio demon. The entertainment, I love nothing more than seeing people strive to do something and then fail miserably. Alastor said with a menacing grin. Okay slaughter rule, I'm out, Naruto said as he sighed in defeat. Sorry Naruto, but I like your ideas to improve the hotel, we really should be trying to make rehabilitation a fun experience instead of just trying to make it an idea. Charlie said with a. Yeah you're right, okay how about this, what do you have to protect the hotel? Naruto asked, deciding to change the subject. I'd like to call myself a line of defense. Alastor said with a menacing grin. Me too, Vaggie said as she held up her spear. And if you're not here or if the attacker is too big for you? Naruto asked, looking at Alastor then Vaggie. Well, I could always have razzle and dazzle on it. Charlie said sheepishly as the little dragons flew next to her. That's not exactly helping me sis, okay I see I really am needed here. Naruto muttered as he adjusted his collar. What are you gonna do? Vaggie asked curiously. Just gonna call in a favor, Naruto said as he snapped his fingers, causing a small explosion to go off behind him and smoke to fill the room. Everyone coughed a bit as the smoke started to fade. Everyone looked as what looked like a humanoid fox with orange fur appeared out of the smoke. DMN it brat, a little warning before you do that. The fox yelled. A hell fox? Angel said with a raised eyebrow. Ah Kurama, nice to see you, Naruto said with a grin as he approached the fox. Yeah sure, what is it? Kurama asked as he looked at Naruto with a flat tone. Kurama, Alastor muttered as he rubbed his chin as the name rang a bell. Recently I decided to help my sister with this hotel and it needs a bodyguard just in case something nasty shows up, and of course I thought of you, Naruto said with a smile at the Hellfox, but unlike his normal smile there was more to this smile, something unsettling. You couldn't think of the others, like Shikaku or something? Kurama asked with an annoyed tone. Hey, this place has absolutely no protection besides the Overlord or the chick with the spear, what do you think? Naruto muttered into his ear, subtly pointing at Alastor and Vaggie. I see your point, fine, if it gets me free room and board I'll do it, not like I can say no, right? Kurama asked as he gave Naruto a dirty look. Glad to hear it. Now, play nice, Naruto said with a smile at Kurama. Hey Muscles, are you seeing anyone? Angel asked sensually as he approached Kurama. I was until I was pulled away, Kurama said as he gave Naruto a dirty look. Hee, sorry. Naruto said with a sweat drop. Hey, if you guys want to get Attention, might I suggest you take advantage of the talent you have right here, Angel said as he looked at Charlie and Vaggie. Angel, you're a pawn star, Vaggie said with a flat tone of voice. A famous pawn star, I'll have the horniest sinners knocking down these walls to get in here, Angel said with a smile. We are not filming a pawn as a commercial, Vaggie said with an annoyed tone at the spider demon. Why not? SEC sells, doesn't it? I swear if you film me going at it with Mr. Fancy Talk creepy voice or the foxy stud here, you would be rolling in participants willing to stay in this tacky hotel, Angel said as he pointed at Alastor and Kurama. Ha ha. Never gonna happen, Alastor said as he shook his head at this. Yeah, I would rather be shaved bald, Kurama said with a scoff at this. Angel, I really appreciate you wanting to use your special skills to help promote the hotel, but I don't want to, exploit you in that way, Charlie said with a kind smile as she chuckled nervously. Oh please, this body was made to be exploited. I've got the arms, I've got the stamina. I've got the lung capacity, Angel was saying before he was cut off. As Angel was going on his rant, Charlie's phone went off and she left the room to answer it. Angel, if you keep this up I swear to Satan I'm gonna tie you down, Naruto was saying before he was cut off. KNKY. Cone on Princey, keep talking dirty. Angel said with a grin as he looked at Naruto. And then I'm gonna read you the Bible, Naruto said with a flat tone. Well, that just ruined my energy, thanks for that, Prince, Angel said with a scowl as he crossed his arms. No problem, Naruto said with a grin as he noticed Charlie's return along with Vaggie and that she seemed to be really excited. What's got you so excited, sis? Naruto asked. Dad just called me and asked me to go to a meeting with Heaven. This is my chance to tell them about my idea for the hotel. Charlie said excitedly. Naruto blinked at this before he slightly scowled at this. Oh. You should come with me. Of both the prince and princess of hell, tell them about this I'm sure, Charlie was saying before she was cut off. Sorry sis, but I don't have the time, but I'm sure you can handle this, Naruto said as he shook his head. Yeah, we're still starving here, Princey. Angel yelled at Naruto from his couch. Yeah, I'm on it, Naruto said as he walked into the kitchen. Maybe if you didn't starve yourself you wouldn't be so hungry. Husker said as he cleaned one of the bottles. Hey, this body is a temple, it doesn't need a flab on it. As Naruto walked into the kitchen, Kurama was right behind him. Surprised you didn't take the chance to take that meeting with Heaven, Kurama said as he leaned against the wall. There's no need for me to be there, it's not like it's actually in heaven anyway, Naruto said as he put his apron on. You would rather waste time cooking for these losers over possibly getting answers about your ga. Kurama was saying befits a orange chain a pea tree around his neck which caused him to fall to the ground. The end of the chain appeared around Naruto's hand as he turned to glare at Kurama. I don't need psych exam, especially not from you, don't pretend we're friends, Kurama, not after what you did, Naruto growled as he approached Kurama as his eyes glowed red and a horn started to grow out of the right side of his head. Ga, alright already. Kurama choked out as he grabbed the chain on his neck. Good, just be thankful I'm not as bad as other overlords, even if you do deserve whatever happens to you, Naruto said as he glared at Kurama. Kurama said nothing to this but nodded his head at this. Good, now you go secure the hotel and remember this, if you let anyone here get hurt, Naruto said as he let the threat hang as the chain he was holding disappear. Yeah, I know, Kurama said as he stood up and walked out of the kitchen. Good. Food should be ready soon. Naruto said with a smile as his horn disappeared. Kurama said nothing to this as he left the kitchen and Naruto got to work cooking. As this happened, the shadows moved and Alastor poked his head out of the wall. Interesting, the radio demon thought as he disappeared into the wall. With Naruto. It was a little later with Naruto and he was now in the kitchen with Vaggie, who was recording him cooking something for a new commercial. Sis, free advice, put it to your good eye, Naruto said as he noticed Vaggie was putting the video camera to her bad eye. I know that DMN it, wait sis. Vaggie was yelling before she paused and looked at Naruto with a raised eyebrow. Well, you're dating Charlie, right? Naruto asked as he chopped some tomatoes. Yeah, though I'm surprised you're just calling me sis right off the bat, Vaggie said as she looked at Naruto. Well, you're a step up from Charlie's ex, F. Vaughn Eldritch and their elitist bullshit, Naruto grumbled under his breath. Ugh, Charlie mentioned that as, Vaggie said as she scoffed. Yeah, you know that as called me some street trash Lucifer took in because he was bored. Unholy CRP, I have never seen Charlie that mad. I think she ripped a piece of his scalp off when she dumped him because of that, Naruto said as he snickered at the memory. Vaggie chuckled at this as she watched Naruto cook. She's protective of you, huh? She asked curiously. Oh yeah, she always has been since her family took me in, Naruto said with a chuckle as he started to make some sauce on the stove. Can I ask what happened that made it so you ended up with Charlie's family? Vaggie asked curiously. Don't you need to get this shot for the commercial, sis? Naruto asked with a smile as he started to boil some pasta. Oh right. Vaggie said as she put the camera to her good eye and took some recordings of Naruto cooking. As Vaggie did this, Naruto's mind drifted back to when he was a kid, which felt like a lifetime ago, which considering he was almost 200 years old it kinda was. Flashback. A child Naruto was sitting in the living room in front of the radio listening to music when it was interrupted. This is a news report. The yearly extermination is starting now. If you haven't found a safe place then you're totally F, the anchor yelled before a crash and some screaming was heard in the background before the radio was turned off. You don't need to be listening to that, sweetie, a female said as she smiled at Naruto. This female had dark red skin which went with her long red hair. She also had what looked like two big horns sticking out of her forehead. This was Kushina Uzumaki, one of the most powerful overlords in the city. Mommy, why does this happen every year? Naruto asked as he looked at his mother. Kushina frowned at this as she thought about how to answer, but before she could answer the building started to shake violently. Mommy! Naruto yelled in a panic as he tried to run to her but he stumbled. Kushina quickly ran to him and scooped him into her arms before she ran downstairs and approached what looked like a metal door that was in the floor. She easily grabbed it and pulled it open before she went down into the hole. Here, it should be safe down here, we have plenty of food and water until this ends, Kushina said as she put Naruto down and smiled at him. After she said this they heard a crash upstairs. Find that bee, a male voice was heard yelling. Sir, are you sure she is even here? A female voice asked. That nine-tailed moron said she was here, now find her, the male voice yelled. Adam, Kushina said with a growl as her eyes went red. Mommy? Naruto asked as he looked at her worried. Kushina quickly composed herself before she looked at her son. It's okay, sweetie, you'll take care of this, you just take this for me, okay? She said as she took out what looked like a letter in an envelope and handed it to the child before walking over to the leader out of the bunker and climbed out. Naruto walked over to the ladder and looked up at his mother as she looked down at him with some tears in her eyes. Stay safe, Naruto, Kushina said with a smile before she slammed the bunker door shut. Naruto looked down at the ground and after a few moments what sounded like fighting was heard and destruction was heard above him, which caused him to start crying. Flashback end. Naruto. Naruto. Vaggie said, waving her hand in his face. Huh? What's up? Naruto asked as he snapped out of it and looked at Vaggie. The water is boiling and I think the meat is starting to burn, Vaggie said as she pointed at the stove. Ah, heaven! Naruto yelled as he ran over to the stove to salvage the food he was cooking. Vaggie sighed at this as she left the kitchen to go try and put together the footage she had so far. Later. Okay, come and get your lunch. I'm taking it off the table in 5 minutes. Naruto yelled as he walked into the dining room carrying a big pot which he placed on the table before taking the lid off, causing the room to be filled with the aroma of food. Angel looked up from his seat on the couch and smelled the air before he quickly ran over to the table. Spaghetti. I love Italian food, he yelled with a smile as he sat down in his chair. Ain't that because you are Italian? Husker asked casually as he approached the table and sat down. Hey, I haven't had good Italian food since I died, let me have this. Angel yelled as Naruto placed a full plate of spaghetti in front of him, making him smile and slightly drool. Parmesan is right here, Naruto said with a chuckle as he pushed a tray towards Angel. Oh, the sauce looks like BLD. Niffty yelled happily as she looked at her plate with glee. Great, another crazy one, Kurama said with a sigh as he sat in his seat. What kind of meat did you use? Alastor asked as he sat down and smelled his plate. I used venison beef for you and beef for everyone else, Naruto said as he gave Husk his plate. Special orders too? You are a try-hard, aren't you, my young chef, Alastor said with a grin as he grabbed a fork. As Naruto gave everyone their food, the front doors opened and Charlie entered the hotel with a frown on her face. What's wrong with you, sis? Naruto asked as he looked at Charlie. Nothing is wrong, Charlie said as she put on a forced smile. Good, now come eat, then Vaggie can show you her new commercial we all made today, Naruto said as he made a plate for Charlie. You all made a new commercial? Charlie asked as she sat at the table next to Vaggie. Yup, some of my best work if I say so myself, Angel said as he smiled. It should be premiering soon actually. Hey Naruto, is it okay if we get a TV in here? Vaggie asked as she looked at the blonde chef. Fine, Naruto said as he snapped his fingers and made a TV appear at the end of the table before he made a remote appear in his hand and turned it on. Perfect, it's coming on. Vaggie said with a smile as the commercial appeared on the TV. Welcome to the Hazbin Hotel Vaggie was saying before the commercial was cut off and interrupted. Oh, come on. Charlie yelled as everyone groaned in annoyance except for Niffty, who laughed. Breaking news in hell today. We just received word from the Heaven Embassy that the next extermination is happening sooner than ever before. Do you know what that means, Tom? Katie Killjoy said as she reported the news and looked at her co-anchor. No, what does that mean, Kate? Tom asked as he looked at his co-anchor. It means we're all royalty. F. Donovan. Service me while you are still alive. Katie said as she looked at the camera with a twitching eyebrow before she shouted at someone off camera before the TV started showing footage of the city, which was in a full-blown riot as the countdown to the yearly extermination rapidly went down and stopped as it showed there was only less than 6 months left. Wait, what? Why? Angel asked as he looked at the news report. I don't know, Adam didn't even listen to my idea, he just laughed and said hell is forever whether we like it or not, Charlie said as he frowned. That's Adam for ya, he probably thinks like all angels do, that rehabilitation is impossible for sinners. Naruto said firmly as he scowled. All angels can't be as bad as him, Charlie said with a determined look on her face. Naruto said nothing to this and stopped himself from saying something he knew his sister would not like hearing. Alright, a riot. I'm gonna go steal me some free SHT, Kurama said with a grin before Naruto slapped him in the back of the head. Sit down and eat, you idiot, and since when do you pull stupid moves like that? That's Shikaku's job, Naruto said as he shoved Kurama his plate of spaghetti. Okay, so the extermination is coming in 6 months instead of a year, no big deal, just a little setback. It's nothing we can't handle, just the angels cutting our timetable in half, but who needs a whole year to save souls, right? Charlie asked as she got up from the table and started to pace around while Kiki the demon cat followed her. Oh boy. She's doing her pacing thing again. Naruto said as he shook his head. Babe, calm down, we can handle it, Vaggie said as she grabbed Charlie's shoulders to comfort her. Oh please, you had less than half a chance when you started this salvation bullshit and now ain't no silver lining this time, Toots, Angel said as he looked at his phone. Are you always this much of a downer? 'Cause you're the first person here talking sense, Kurama said as he finished his food. We just have to look a little harder for a silver lining, Charlie said as she looked at Angel and Kurama. Well, while you're looking, the rest of the Pride Ring is going nuts. People are already freaking out about the news. Looks what's happening in the Doomsday District, Angel said as he held up his phone for Charlie to see, which showed a feed of texts and video footage of people in hell freaking out. What is a donkey show? Charlie asked as she saw a new text pop up on Angel's phone. A call for help or a crazy Saturday night, Kurama said with a snicker. It's nothing. My boss Val is just freaked out about the news too. like I said, everyone is losing their SHT, Angel said as he went back to his phone. Yeah, that's true, sinners are desperate, maybe desperate enough to try anything to escape the extermination, Vaggie said as she looked at Charlie. This is the perfect time to recruit more sinners into the hotel. Charlie said with a smile as she realized what Vaggie was saying. Great idea and all, but are you sure it's smart to go out while there is a riot going on? Naruto asked as he started to pick up the empty plates from the table. Well, it's not like people are just gonna show up on our doorstep, little bro, Charlie said as she looked at him. Before Naruto could respond, the front door to the hotel exploded open. Show yourself, Alastor. Come and face my wrath, a voice outside the hotel yelled out. Ugh, not that moron again, Vaggie said as she grabbed her spear and approached the front door. Naruto and Charlie followed them, and when they made it outside they saw what looked like an airship being attacked by shadow tendrils and Alastor standing nearby with Niffty watching on his shoulder. What's going on? Naruto asked curiously as he approached Alastor. Nothing important to worry about, my boy, Alastor said as he looked at his cane boredly as his tendrils easily attacked the airship. He's attacking the bad boy, Niffty said with a grin as she watched as the tendrils started to beat up the airship. Alastor, I think he's had enough, Charlie said as Alastor laughed at this. Nah, he's got a few more hits in him, Angel said with a smile as he watched. End it already, would you? This is boring. Kurama said. As he said this, what looked like a snake demon fell out of the front of the airship. Sir Pentious, I presume? Naruto asked as this was the first time he had seen him. Yup, pathetic, huh? Angel asked with a shake of his head. Thanks again for another forgettable experience, Alastor said as he approached the downed Pentious. Thank you for letting your guard down. Ah, Sir Pentious yelled as he took a swipe at Alastor but only took a piece of his coat. Bad move, Snake Man, Naruto said as he sighed at this pathetic move. OSHT. Sir Pentious yelled as Alastor transformed into his full demon form and blasted him, sending him flying away from the hotel. Nice distance, Kurama said as he slightly smirked seeing this. Well, it looks like I need a visit to the tailor. Best of luck, chums, Alastor said to everyone before he started to walk away from the hotel. Wait, you're leaving? We need your help, we need you to do your job, Vaggie said as she stepped forward. We need a wall, Angel said with a flat tone of voice as he pointed at the destroyed wall from Pentious' attack. Of course, I can't let my new project fall into disrepair already. What would the papers say? Alastor said as he snapped his fingers and summoned some demons who had some tools ready to work. What's wrong with you? Don't tell me you feel sorry for that snake. Kurama said as he saw Naruto looking in the distance where Pentious was sent flying. I always feel sorry for pathetic demons who can't fight back. It's not like he has the power to fight back, right? Naruto asked with an edge in his voice as he looked at Kurama. Kurama said nothing to this but scowled as he knew what Naruto was saying without words. Later, Charlie and Vaggie walked into the now fully repaired hotel, the blonde groaning as she flopped onto the couch. So how did it go? Angel asked as he looked at his phone. Not good, not a single new recruit, Vaggie said with a sigh. Oh well, who would not want to use their last days not effing fighting? Angel said as he looked at his phone. Great attitude, Angel, Naruto said with a flat tone as he gave the sinner a thumbs up. As he said this, they all heard a knock at the door, causing Vaggie to approach the door and open it to reveal. Well, hello my dear Dash, Sir Pentious said with a smile before he was hit in the face with the as of Vaggie's spear, making him fall to the ground. What are you doing here? Talk or I'll have our bouncer deal with you, Vaggie said with a growl as she pointed her spear at the snake demon. Snake meat, Kurama said with a smile as he approached, causing Sir Pentious to go pale. Now please let the demon speak. Naruto said as he put a finger on the end of Vaggie's spear to point it downward. What's going on? Oh, hello again, Charlie said as she approached before smiling at the snake demon. I didn't come here to fight. I heard that you're helping people who want to be better, Sir Pentious said as he held his arms out with a nervous smile. This caused Charlie to smile before she quickly ran over to Sir Pentious. You heard right. Welcome to our home of healing, our hotel or restoration, our dash, she was saying as she led him inside before she was cut off. Are you nuts? This chump was trying to kill us not even 6 hours ago, Angel said as he pointed at Sir Pentious. Technically 7, but who's counting, Kurama said as he shrugged. So could Alastor, but you keep him around. Naruto said casually. The point is he tried to kill us and now you want to let him live with us? Angel asked with a raised eyebrow. Absolutely, this place is about second chances, Charlie said as she smiled and nodded at Sir Pentious, who smiled back. Aren't you supposed to protect this place? Angel asked Vaggie, hoping to get some backup. Charlie looked at Vaggie with her eyes wide and with a cute look, hoping to win her over. Don't look directly at her, Naruto said with a grin, seeing this before Charlie slapped his shoulder. I guess he's not that much of a threat without the war machine, or even with the war machine, Vaggie said as she walked past Sir Pentious, causing him to frown a bit at the insult. Wow, kick a guy while he's down, why don't ya? Naruto muttered flatly. Hey, where's those egg things you carry around everywhere you go? Kurama asked bluntly before Pentious sniffled lightly. Still putting themselves back together. Welcome to the Hazbin Hotel, Charlie said as she hugged Pentious before shebbled him inside. Thank you, you won't regret this, Pentious said as he followed Charlie inside. I give him a week tops, Angel said with a flat tone. I give about 22 minutes, Kurama said with his own flat tone. Okay, so this is the bar and this is the bartender husk. This is the new wall after you destroyed the old one dash, Charlie said as she started to show Pentious around the hotel before she was cut off. Sorry, I'm just so excited to have our first real guest in the hotel, Charlie said with an excited smile. What the hell am I then? Angel asked as he pointed at himself with his arms. I have a list of what you are if you want to see it, ga. Cut the CRP. Kurama was saying before Naruto slapped him on the back of the head. You are an important part of our family, Angel, but you, Charlie was saying before she was cut off. Constantly make us look bad, sexually harass the staff and literally never once tried to improve yourself, Vaggie said as she looked at Angel with a look of disapproval. What she means is that it's just nice to have someone interested for once, Charlie said as she smiled at Pentious, who was looking around the hotel. Angel frowned at this while Charlie walked over to Pentious. You know, if you wanted to start improving yourself, it's not like it's a competition, Naruto said to Angel as he took note of Angel's reaction. Angel scoffed at this but thought about this as Naruto walked away. Over here we have our maid Niffty, Charlie said as she led Pentious over to where said maid was messing with Kiki, who yowled and ran off when the maid was distracted when she saw them. Oh, the bad boy's back. Never leave me again. Niffty said happily before she jumped into Pentious' face and pulled him close with a crazy look in her eye. We're about 80% sure she's harmless, and over here we have my brother Naruto, he's our cook and our bodyguard Kurama, Charlie said as she pulled Pentious away from Niffty and towards Naruto and Kurama. Wait, brother? Pentious asked as he looked at Naruto. How do you do, Naruto Morningstar / Uzumaki at your service, have a favorite, I'll make it. So nice to have you amongst us. Naruto said kindly as he shook Pentious's hand. Uzumaki? As in Kushina Uzumaki? Pentious yelled before he bowed his head to Naruto, smashing his head into the floor. I'm guessing you're a fan of my mom? Naruto asked with a chuckle at Pentious' reaction. Yes, the powerful Oni Overlord, she was so strong and a big inspiration for me to rise up into Overlord ranking. Pentious said happily. Okay, let's move this along, you have met Alastor before, Charlie said as she introduced Alastor. You're the one who tore my coat, I remember you now, Alastor said as he narrowed his eyes at Pentious, making him gulp. Nervously. Okay, our first lesson is how to apologize, Charlie said as she pushed Pentious towards Alastor. Oh. Of course, I'm sorry that you're your coat, Pentious said as he held up the piece of Alastor's coat to the radio demon as a peace offering. This must be very valuable to you, Alastor said as he took the piece of his coat and burned it to ash as he glared at Pentious. Alastor, play nice or no extra venison at dinner? Naruto said, deciding to help. Very well, let's start over with a clean slate, as it were. Welcome to the hotel, Alastor said as he smiled at Pentious. Is your food that good? Pentious asked curiously as he looked at Naruto. Well, I don't like to brag, Naruto said with a sheepish chuckle. My little bro is one of the best cooks in hell, oh I know. How about you make a special meal to welcome Sir Pentious to the hotel? Charlie asked as she looked at her brother with her begging face. Put those away, any requests Sir Pentious? Naruto asked as he looked at the snake demon. Well, I like eggs, Pentious said as he looked at Naruto. Naruto said as he looked at him with a curious look. What? Pentious asked raising an eyebrow. Your minions are literally eggs. Naruto said as he raised an eyebrow at this. I'm a snake, snakes like eggs amongst other things. Pentious said simply. Fair enough, I mean if I could have minions that were bowls of ramen I would, so who am I to judge? Naruto said with a chuckle. No ramen minions. Charlie yelled after Naruto as she dragged Pentious away. Yes sis, Naruto said with a sigh as he walked towards the kitchen to get to work on dinner. Later. It was now night time and Naruto was sleeping in his room when what sounded like fighting was heard, making him groan as he woke up before he got out of bed and put on a robe before he walked out of his room and towards where he saw everyone else was gathered. Okay, who's ruining my beauty sleep? Naruto said as he saw Pentious on the ground in a fetal position. This effer was sent to spy on us by Vox. Angel yelled as he pointed at the floor where there was a wrist TV. Who? Naruto asked after a few moments of thought. The TV demon. Angel said simply. Oh, that annoying guy who always pops up on the TV, you know, that moron offered me a cooking show. Naruto asked as he scoffed. Did you take it? Alastor asked curiously. Do I look like a moron? If I'm gonna have my own show I'm gonna run it myself, not cook with a guy who can't even eat, I think. Naruto. Focus. This guy is a spy and I'm gonna make it quick for him, Vaggie said as she pointed her spear at Pentious. Your spy is crying. Naruto said, simply pointing at Pentious who was holding the camera Vox gave him to plant. He called me worthless, the pathetic laughingstock of the overlords. If you're gonna kill me, mail it quick. Pentious said sadly as he laid on the floor. Well, he's not wrong, Kurama said with a bored tone before Naruto stomped on his tail making a crunching sound making him yell. Charlie frowned at this before she stepped forward and held out her hand to Sir Pentious and sang a song to him about how it all starts with saying sorry, which actually cheered him up. I hated that song. You're not a bad boy. Niffty yelled as she walked into the room and kicked Sir Pentious in the side before she walked off in a huff. Okay, let's all go to bed, Naruto said as he chuckled at this. Can I eat the camera? I want to give Vox something to look at. Kurama said with a chuckle. Go for it, Naruto said with a smirk at this as he left the library. Kurama smiled at this before he pushed the call button and opened his mouth wide. What do you want? What the hell, hey? Vox yelled as he looked into Kurama's mouth. Spy on this jackass. Kurama said with a grin as he dropped the camera down his throat. As Naruto walked to his room he passed as he saw Angel giving Sir Pentious a glare as he went to his room. You know, the fact that you cared enough to protect this place is enough proof you're just as worthy to stay here, you know, he said to Angel. Angel raised an eyebrow at this before he nodded at Naruto and went into his room, leaving Naruto alone in the hallway. Like you actually care about this redemption, CRP, Kurama said with a scoff as he walked over before freezing as Naruto glared at him, one of his eyes going red. Just do your job and keep your mouth shut, Naruto said with a cold tone before he went into his room and slammed his door shut. Right, all right. Kurama said as he headed for his room. Just what is your angle, my boy? Alastor said as he watched this unnoticed as he found this very interesting before he disappeared into the shadows. With Naruto. It had been a week since Sir Pentious had checked into the hotel and currently Naruto was inside the kitchen making breakfast for everyone. Niffty, I said no killing bugs in the kitchen. Naruto yelled as he looked at the little cyclops as she chased some bugs into the kitchen with her knife. They like the smell of your food, it makes a good lure, Niffty said with a mad grin as she stabbed a cockroach before laughing madly as she ran out of the kitchen. Well, keep them away from my food at least, Naruto said with a sigh as he finished making breakfast, deciding to let Niffty do her thing. Can you tell everyone that breakfast will be ready soon? He asked as Niffty chased another cockroach out of the kitchen. Die! 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 Niffty yelled before laughing maniacally as she stabbed the ground. 80% sure she's harmless, my ass, Naruto said with a sigh as he started filling plates with food. He then started to carry the plates of food out of the kitchen and towards the dining room. As he did this, he saw Charlie and Vaggie putting up some decorations with the little dragons Razzle and Dazzle helping put up a banner that said Happy First Week Sir Pentious. That looks perfect. I'm so happy Sir Pentious is staying at the hotel, Charlie said with a smile as she looked at the banner before she looked at Vaggie. Pentious was just trying to take over the city with his steampunk bullshit a few days ago, Vaggie said with an annoyed tone as she still didn't trust the snake demon. Why do you complain so much? Kurama asked flatly as he sat at the dining table along with Angel and Husk as Naruto gave them their plates. It's Sissa's job to keep the hotel safe, can't blame her for being cautious, Naruto said as he nodded at Vaggie, who nodded back at her. Sis. Charlie said with a happy smile, glad that Naruto was pretty much accepting Vaggie. As this was happening, a cannon was pushed into the room with several of Pentious' egg bois riding it. What the F is that? Vaggie asked Sir Pentious as he entered the room. Hello purple female, it's my new invention, the Skin Flayer 11,000. I'm really looking forward to shooting the other residents, Pentious said as he greeted Vaggie. Me first. Niffty yelled as she stood up on the dining table and laughed. Eat your omelette, Niffty, Naruto said as he shook his head. Why would you want to do that? Charlie asked Sir Pentious. Everyone is being too nice here, they are obviously plotting something, Sir Pentious hissed out. Have you considered that they are just trying to make you feel welcome? Vaggie asked with an annoyed tone. Can't say I blame him, everyone treats him like CRP what they do. Kurama said flatly, seeing the others giving him looks. Ah. My new parts are here. Sir Pentious said as he saw what looked like two young women enter the hotel along with some other demons posing in boxes of what looked like weapons. Sign here please, thank you for your. Carmine purchased, the woman said as Sir Pentious signed the paperwork and took his order before they left. Yes, thank you, and tell Carmine to have a wonderful day. Pentious said kindly. Carmine? As in Carmilla Carmine? You bought parts from a Overlord? Vaggie asked Sir Pentious. Yes, where else do you think I get my weapons from? Pentious said casually. She's the top's weapons dealer, inherit for a reason, Naruto said as he nodded. Not helping. Vaggie yelled at Naruto, clearly not happy. So if you're saying he can't have weapons but you can carry around a weapon yourself, not pretty fair, Vags. Kurama said as he gave Vaggie a flat look. I need this for my job, he's a guest here, you absolutely cannot build weapons in this hotel, Vaggie said as she looked Sir Pentious. But he has Tommy guns, why can't I have mine? Pentious asked, pointing at Angel, who choked on his omelette at his words. He has what? Vaggie asked as she turned her narrowed gaze to Angel. So chef, who's riding the male Morningstar nowadays, you have a girlfriend out there? Angel asked Naruto, hoping to change the subject. Yes. Naruto said simply. And, I want details man, give me details, is she hot? Angel asked with a grin. You'll just have to keep guessing, who knows, maybe she might show up or not. Naruto said as he shook his head. Okay Pentious, if you want to stay here you are not allowed 3D to make weapons and get rid of them. Vaggie said as she pointed at the egg bois who were in one of the boxes of parts messing with the parts, which caused a laser to go off and blast a hole in the ceiling. BB, but they're my eggies. Pentious said sadly as his hat's eyes became teary. How about we find work for them in the hotel? I mean they are just minions, right? Naruto asked as he didn't see the harm in the egg bois staying. Oh yes, they're great and do whatever they're told. Pentious said. Growling, okay then, since you are so understanding you can keep an eye on them until Pentious proves that he can be trusted with them, Vaggie said as she gave Naruto an annoyed look. Fine with me, okay you lot, you're gonna be working for me for a bit, Naruto said as he looked at the eggs. Okay boss, one of the egg bois said as he saluted Naruto along with his fellow eggs. Pentious grumbled at this as he sat at the table as he looked at his dish as he removed the cover, for crying out loud, he yelled with a wince before falling backwards fainting. Niffty. I said to use real eggs. Naruto asked before he shouted after seeing that there was a cooked egg boi on Pentious' plate. Well, I couldn't find any, and they are eggs, hee. His screams were fantastic to hear. Niffty said with a mad smile. Yeah, well, the egg bois are off limits. I'm expecting another shipment of supplies today, so I expect you to use those. Naruto yelled as the egg bois hid behind his legs. Meanwhile Kiki, Razzle and Dazzle were fanning the fainted Pentious as his hat's eye had a swirl over it. Anyway, I'm heading out into the city today, so keep eye put for my DLVRY, Naruto said as he started to head for the door with the egg bois close behind. Ah, you are heading out to today's meeting? Wonderful, I'll join you, Alastor said as he came out of his room and approached Naruto. Meeting? What meeting? Charlie asked, raising an eyebrow at this. Overlord business, my dear, don't you worry, Alastor said with a smile as he and Naruto left the hotel with the egg bois close behind them. Charlie frowned at this as she crossed her arms. Problem, princess? Husk asked curiously as he returned to his place behind the bar and started to clean a glass. I don't like that Naruto is a overlord. Him going to a meeting is like him accepting it, Charlie said as she frowned. From what I hear he's one of the less feared overlords unless he's crossed, unlike his mother who would kill a guy just for looking at her funny, Husk said as he cleaned his glass. Ain't much you can do, princess, if he wants to be an overlord let him, he's a prince of hell and he can be what he wants. Angel said casually as he ate his breakfast. As they ate breakfast suddenly the doorbell rang. That's probably Naruto's weekly supplies from the gluttony ring, Vaggie said as she looked at the door. I'll get it, Kurama said with a sigh as he approached the door and opened it, revealing several boxes left at the door like every other week, only unlike those other weeks one box was shaking violently. Kurama raised an eyebrow at this while Vaggie approached and saw this. Hey! We didn't order live ingredients, Vaggie yelled at the two hellhounds who were running to their truck. Boss orders were to drop that as off here. He's your problem now. One of the hellhounds yelled from inside the truck before the truck took off. Oh God no, don't let it be who I think it is. Kurama said as the box started to shake even more. Let me out here, DMN it, a voice yelled from inside the crate as what looked like sand seeped out of the lid of the box. Vaggie proceeded to open the box with her spear. Vags don't dash, Kurama was saying before he was cut off. Vaggie got pushed back as sand came out of the box. Inside the sand was what looked like a small humanoid tanuki that was slightly taller than Niffty. Who's ready to party their asses off? The tanuki yelled with a laugh. Oh no, oh, Kurama groaned as the tanuki slid down the sand but was caught by Kurama. The sand Shikaku, always with the sand. Kurama yelled. You know this guy? Vaggie asked as she shook her hair sending sand flying. I guess you could say he's my brother. Kurama said with a flat tone as he dropped Shikaku. Little brother, I'm guessing, he's so small and cute, Charlie said with a smile as she looked at Shikaku. Don't let your guard down, this small and cute tanuki once ate 3 lone sharks while they were alive. Kurama said looked at his brother. What can I say, I was hungry for sushi. Shikaku said with a small cackle. Why are you here, Shikaku? I'm surprised someone like you were even captured and shipped here, Kurama said as he sighed. I'm here cause that bee of Naruto's took a cheap shot at me. Shikaku yelled, his eyes going red as sand started to fly around him a bit. Ah, she got sick of your CRP, huh? Kurama asked as he nodded in understanding. Yes. Shikaku said as he crossed his arms and looked to the side with a pout. You know who he's dating, give me the details. I want to see Charlie's face hearing this bombshell. Angel said with a grin. Who the hell are you? Where am I? Shikaku asked as he looked around a bit at the hotel. Welcome to the Hazbin Hotel. I'm Charlie, Naruto's big sister, Charlie said as she looked down at Shikaku. This is where Naruto is staying now. A one-star hotel, and that's me being nice, Shikaku said as a chandler fell down, causing Kiki to yowl and run off. We are still in the process of renovating, but soon we will be ready to take in many more sinners and try to rehabilitate, Charlie was saying before she was cut off. Rehabilitate? This is a halfway house. For sinners. Gahahahahahaha. Shikaku asked before he fell over and started to roll on the floor laughing madly. Oh, I like this one, Angel said with a grin at the Tanuki demon. Okay, it was nice meeting Kurama's brother, but we have a full day planned and we don't have time for an uninvited guest, Vaggie said as she picked up Shikaku and started to walk towards the door. Actually, he could use some rehabilitation out of all of my siblings. He's the most unstable, Kurama said as he looked at his little brother. Oh, that's a great idea. Charlie said with a smile. Put me down, Moth, or I'll shove that spear up where your pole is, give it some company back there. Shikaku yelled, trying to free himself from Vaggie's grip. Ha 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 ha, please let him stay, this guy is hilarious. Angel said laughing as Vaggie growled at him. Vaggie glared at Shikaku and raised her spear, but a look from Charlie made her pause before she sighed. Fine, but just your responsibility, Kurama, she said as she dropped the tanuki. Ha! One begging look and you fold like a sap. Shikaku cackled as he dusted himself off. A bad boy. Niffty cackled lightly seeing Shikaku. And don't you forget it. Shikaku said proudly as everyone came into the parlor area. Okay everyone, it has come to our attention that there may be a little tension in the hotel, Charlie said as Chev looked at everyone who were all giving each other looks of mistrust. Sir Pentious glaring at Niffty and going to grab her but was stopped as Shikaku snapped his jaws at him, making him jump back. Tension that can be counterproductive to what we are trying to do, Vaggie said as she gave Shikaku a look of disapproval. Yeah, well, shove it up there with your pole, Moth, I see it when you open your mouth. Shikaku said as he crossed his arms. Vaggie growled and raised her spear to attack the tanuki but was stopped by Charlie grabbing her arm. Anyway, we think that this group could really benefit from some trust exercises. Charlie yelled excitedly as she jumped along with Vaggie in front of a makeshift stage. So what is this? I'm not about to put on a show for all these chumps, Husk said as he crossed his arms. Oh, I will, but it's cash up front and I know that one can't afford me, Angel said as he pointed at Sir Pentious. Gross. I would never think of it, Spider. Sir Pentious said as he shook his head at this. Oh, I smell a fight, do it. Do it, do it, do it. Gah. Cut the SHT. Shikaku yelled with a mad grin at this before Kurama slapped him in the back of the head. Okay, let's get started, Charlie. Vaggie said as she looked at the group with a flat look. Actually, I think you should lead, Vaggie. I already trust everyone, so I think it would be best if you led us, Charlie said as she smiled at Vaggie and walked over to the others and gave her an encouraging smile and a thumbs up. Sure, I can handle this, no problem. Okay, so we are starting with trust falls. Each of you are gonna share something vulnerable with the group about yourself and then fall backwards while the rest of the group catches you. Got it? Who wants to go first? Vaggie said in a drill sergeant tone as she walked in front of them all. I would like to volunteer to put us all out of our misery, OW. Shikaku said as he raised his hand before Kurama smacked him in the back of his head with a Japanese fan. I'll go first. Charlie said with a smile as she ran onto the stage. I really love you guys so much, Charlie said with a smile before she let herself fall off the stage, letting Vaggie catch her. Ugh, she's just the type who's sad over everything going out there. Shikaku asked as he looked at Kurama. Yup, bleeding heart, Kurama said as he nodded. Angel, why don't you go next? Charlie asked as she pointed at the stage. Fine, Angel said as he walked towards the stage. Remember, this time everyone needs to catch him this time, unless you want me to hurt you, Vaggie said to everyone as Angel got on the stage. Okay, something about myself, huh? How about this? I love to SCK Angel was saying with a smile. I swear to F if you say PP. Husk yelled as he looked at Angel knowingly. Popsicles, you sicko. Get your mind out of the gutter. Angel said with a smile before he let himself fall back into Husk's arms, but you know PP too, he said with a grin at Husk before the cat demon dropped him. We got popsicles. Where, I want one. Shikaku yelled excitedly. No sugar for you, Kurama said as he shuddered slightly. DMN it. Shikaku yelled out in fury at his missed chance. Okay, new guy, you're up, Angel said to Sir Pentious as he stood up. Sir Pentious got onto the stage and looked at everyone with a sad look on his face. I don't want to live without my minions, nobody catch me, he yelled before he fell back off the stage but fell into a pillow of sand. DMN it. Pentious yelled out in frustration. Wonderful show of trust, Shikaku. Charlie said with a smile. Wait for it, Kurama said with a flat tone. I just saved him 'cause it's funnier if he suffers, Shikaku said with a mad grin as he made his sand recede into his body. Niffty, you're up, Vaggie said as she rolled her eyes at Shikaku. Niffty ran onto the stage excitedly. Sometimes I kill mother bugs in front of their children as a warning to others, she yelled with a look of glee her face before she jumped off the stage towards everyone. Who promptly backed away, causing Niffty to slam into the ground. Yay! Pain! Niffty yelled happily before she ran onto the stage and jumped off the stage again and proceeded to repeat doing this. Shikaku watched this happen and after a few seconds he smiled madly. That's hot, he said. Kurama froze at this as he looked at his little brother. Intervention, he yelled as he grabbed Shikaku from behind. No, get off me, I'll shove Moth Spear up your. Shikaku yelled as sand started to fly. Okay, this isn't going how I hoped, Charlie said with a sigh as Shikaku and Kurama started to fight. Relax babe, I'll figure out a way to make this work, Vaggie said as she smiled at Charlie encouragingly. If you're in the market for ideas, I got just the thing for some trust building, Angel said as he smiled at the princess and her girlfriend. I ain't watching your pornos. Kurama said firmly as he wiped his knuckles of sand after smacking Shikaku in the head. Said demon was on the ground dizzy from being smacked by his sibling. With Naruto. Meanwhile in the city, Naruto and Alastor were walking down the sidewalk on their way to Carmilla Carmine office for the meeting she called between all the overlords, the group of egg bois close behind. How about what's the plan, boss? One of the egg bois asked Naruto as they walked. I like your friend's suit, one of the eggs said as they looked at Alastor whose eyebrow was slightly twitching in annoyance. What are his antlers for? One of the eggs asked. Can I touch his staff thing? One of the eggs asked Alastor. Are those his ears or his hair? I can't tell, one of the eggs asked as they pointed at Alastor. Yeah, is that your hair? Naruto asked Alastor with a chuckle as he had to admit this was funny to him. Don't encourage them. Alastor said casually. Before Naruto could respond, a figure appeared in front of the two overlords. Said figure was a very tall and thin-built, spider-like demon with dark gray skin and lime-green eyes. He was wearing all-black clothing, with a pitch-black cloak that covers most of his body. Hark, Alastor and Naruto, how fare thee this day? The demon said as he looked at them. Who's that boss? Want me to rough him up for ya? One of the egg bois asked as he moved his fists in a ready motion. Follow in silence if you wish to keep your shells, Alastor said as she looked at the egg bois. Relax, you guys. I know him. Hey old man, how you been? Naruto said to the egg bois before he turned to look at the demon and smiled. You know Zestial? Alastor asked curiously as they all continued to walk, ignoring the demon screaming in fear of the three overlords. Indeed, Thao's mother was a friend of mine, so I saw it prudent to guide him when he became an overlord, Zestial said as he nodded at Naruto. Yeah, the old man also helped me here and there with a few things while I was traveling around the different rings of hell, Naruto said as he shrugged. I'm surprised a overlord of your stature allows him to call you that, Alastor said to Zestial. It's quite fine. His mother did the same thing. I find it quite amusing, Zestial said with a chuckle. Ah, the great Kushina Uzumaki, quite a shame I never got to meet her, Alastor said with a wistful look on his face. It's a shame of her disappearance, but knowing thy fiery spirit she's still alive causing headaches. That's the hope, Naruto said with a firm tone as they all approached Carmilla Carmen's building and approached the elevator. Okay, you lot stay out here and guard the door, Naruto said to the egg bois as he got into the elevator along with Alastor and Zestial. The egg bois all saluted at this as the elevator doors closed and started going up. Hey look! Franks is up there, one of the egg bois said as he pointed at the elevator Naruto had entered where one of them had followed after them unseen. We have names? One of the egg bois asked surprised at this. With Naruto. The elevator stopped at its destination floor and let the 3 overlords out. Naruto looked around as the other elevator doors opened and let out other overlords who were greeting each other as they approached the meeting room. Naruto, is that you? A female voice asked, getting Naruto's attention and turning to look at who had called out to him. It was a very tall demon woman with pale gray skin, and a wide mouth with black-colored lips full of sharp light pink teeth, and dusty pink cheeks. Her eyes were pitch black with no irises or pupils, and her hair was colored in white. She was wearing a red Victorian-era dress and a sun hat. It is you. Where have you been, young man? Oh, just look at you, you have gotten taller, the woman said as she approached Naruto and hugged him. Hey auntie, Naruto said with a chuckle at the woman. You know Rosie too. I must say you have connections for one so young, Alastor said as he looked at Naruto and raised an eyebrow inquisitively. I like to think of them as friends, Naruto said as they all entered the meeting room. Just like his mother, always a friend first to those that earn it. Not that many did, Rosie said with a fanged smile as they all took their seats. As they all took their seats, a tall light gray-skinned demon woman entered the room along with 2 other younger demon women who looked similar to her. This was Carmilla Carmine, one of the overlords of Hell. Welcome, Hell Sovereign Overlords. I invited you all here because you represent the controlling powers of our city. Together you own millions of souls, Carmilla said as her daughters stood by her side. Souls that are now at risk with this new extermination schedule, Naruto said, seeing why this meeting was called. Carmilla nodded at this as she looked at Naruto for a moment before she turned to greet Zestial, who sat next to her. Alastor, you're back. Carmilla said, seeing him sitting. I know you're probably curious where I have been, Alastor said with a smile. Not really, welcome back, Carmilla said with a shrug. Naruto snorted at this while Alastor lightly glared at this dismissal. This year's extermination was brutal. We have assessed that 16% of the population was lost, with the angelic legions returning twice as quickly. I think we dash, Carmilla was saying before she was cut off. Oh God, what is that? Naruto asked as he felt a shiver go up his spine, making his sweat a bit. What's wrong? Carmilla asked as she raised an eyebrow at Naruto. Oh heaven, she's here. I know those cloven hooves anywhere. Naruto said with dread in his voice as he stood up and made a beeline to the window nearby. But was promptly stopped by Rosie, who grabbed him by the back of his suit. Oh, grow up, you can sit in one meeting with your ex, mister, Rosie said as she rolled her eyes at Naruto's reaction. His ex? Alastor asked curiously as he raised an eyebrow, as this had been a subject of discussion at the hotel, but neither Charlie or Naruto liked talking about it. Suddenly the doors opened and what looked like a slim female demon with cider brown skin and red curly hair put into pigtails walked into the meeting while on the phone. This was Velvet of the Versus. Yes, I got it handled. Vox, are you doubting me? What the F are you doing here, you ramen-sucking BSTRD? Velvet was saying into her phone before she spotted Naruto and yelled loudly. I was called here too, seeing as I'm a overlord same as you, Naruto said with a firm tone as he sat back down in his seat. You only have 9 souls under contract, you lazy F. Velvet yelled as she glared at Naruto. Alastor raised an eyebrow inquisitively at this but said nothing. And yet I can still beat you and your fellow wannabes, Naruto said with a firm tone as he glared at his ex. You think you can take me on, Uzumaki? Velvet yelled as she got in Naruto's face. Well, I was able to sleep with a frigid bee like you, so it's your move, Naruto said as he kept his firm look and didn't falter under his ex's glare. Oh yeah? Well, I faked all my orgasms. Velvet yelled at Naruto, obviously getting upset at his dig at her. So did I, Naruto said calmly as he rolled his eyes at this. This got groans from the other overlords watching this. I must say this is most entertaining, Alastor said with a chuckle as any excuse to watch any of the verses get messed with was fun to him. Yeah, this trading of insults is normal with these two since Naruto broke things off with her, Rosie said as she also smiled a bit. He dumped her. What a scandal. Alastor said before he laughed. Velvet growled at this but then smirked as she looked at Naruto. At least I'm not being an overlord just so I can feel close to my mommy who left me in a hole, she said with a smirk as she looked at Naruto. Naruto's eyes narrowed at this before he clenched his fists and a demonic aura appeared around his body and what looked like a horn started to grow out of one side of his head. Naruto! Carmilla yelled, getting his attention while the other overlords stood at the ready in case Naruto started a fight. After a few moments of glaring at Velvet, Naruto's demonic aura and the horn growing out of the side of his head receded. I'm out of here, I'll wait for you outside, Alastor. Carmilla, please accept my apologies, Naruto said as he got up and walked towards the door. Yeah, keep walking, mama's boy, Velvet said with a smirk at her victory over him. Naruto stopped at this before he slugged the wall next to him, making the wall explode and all the windows shatter just from the force of his punch. Bill me, Naruto growled out as he kicked the door open and walked out of the room. My such drama. Alastor said with a chuckle. Now let's continue this meeting, Carmilla said with a firm tone as she looked at everyone while slightly glaring at Velvet for starting this. As the meeting started, Frank was still hiding under the table, slightly shivering from seeing Naruto's show of power. With Naruto. Naruto walked out of Carmilla's building and approached a bench and sat down to wait for Alastor while also to get his mind straight. Hey boss, one of the egg bois yelled as they ran over to greet him. Oh hey, wait, weren't there more of you? Naruto asked as he looked at the eggs. Yeah, Frank went up with you, one of the egg bois said as he pointed up at the building where there was a big hole in the side of the building from Naruto's punch. Was there a scrap, boss? One of the egg bois asked curiously. Nah, just somebody running her mouth, Naruto said as he shook his head as he slightly scowled as he thought about Velvet. Cotton candy. His phone sang as it buzzed with a special ringtone. Naruto smiled at this as he took out his phone and answered it. Hey babe, he said, answering the phone. Hey Whiskers. I wanted to make sure you got my package I sent along with the weekly food order, a female voice on the other side of the phone said. Sorry, I have been out all day, but I'm sure Kurama got it and will make sure that it will stay safe until I get back, Naruto said as he watched the other overlords leave the building, including Velvet, who flipped him off, which he returned making her growl. Yeah, I guess he can handle it. Anyway, when am I gonna see you again? I miss your food, Whiskers, the female voice said with a slight whine. Well, I have set up base in the Pride Ring for now with my sister. She needed help with her hotel. All my man wanted to help her big sister, the female voice said with a teasing tone. Naruto lightly blushed a bit at this as he held his girlfriend laugh a bit before he saw the elevator coming down and that Alastor was inside it. I gotta go, babe, but if you are in the Pride Ring, feel free to come visit me. Sure, sounds like fun, text me later, Whiskers, the female said happily. Naruto nodded at this before he hung up as Alastor came out of the elevator with Frank. What took you so long? He asked curiously. This little egg got lost, didn't you? Alastor asked as he looked at Frank with slightly narrowed eyes. Yup. That place is big. Frank said as he nodded at this. Ah well, let's get back, Naruto said as he stood up from the bench and started making his way back to the hotel. Alastor and the egg bois closed behind him. With the others. After a bad incident with Angel trying to get them to try BDS, Vaggie now had them all assembled on top of a building rooftop in the Anarchy district. This is how you learn to trust people. Charlie yelled as she pointed down below where several demons were firing on each other with weapons. There is nothing stronger than the trust between comrades in arms. Buckle up, buttercups. 'Cause today is the day you boys become men. Vaggie said in a drill sergeant tone as she looked at them all as an explosion went off down below. Shikaku looked down below at all the anarchy and smiled madly. "Oh, I'm liking this hotel," he said excitedly. "Okay, you first," Vaggie yelled as she grabbed Sir Pentious. "Wait. I can't fight without my minions." "Aw!" Sir Pentious yelled as Vaggie threw him off the rooftop and into the war zone below. "You are going to survive together, and you are going to make this hotel work." Vaggie yelled as she grabbed Angel and threw him off the roof while Husk took the chance to flee through the door downstairs before Vaggie could grab him. "You crazy bee!" Angel yelled as he fell into the war zone below. "My turn. My turn." Niffty yelled as she held out her arms and jumped excitedly at Vaggie ready to go. Vaggie grabbed Niffty and was about to throw her into the streets below, but Charlie grabbed Niffty and pulled her away from her girlfriend. "Vaggie, no." Charlie yelled as she placed Niffty on the ground, who just walked over to the rooftop edge and jumped over to join the others. "It's the only way they will learn," Vaggie said as she looked at Charlie. "I agree with the pirate. Come on people, nobody lives forever." Gahahahahaha. Shikaku yelled as he jumped off the rooftop into the war zone below. "Shikaku, don't." Charlie yelled in worry for the new resident. "He will be fine," Kurama said with a bored tone. Down below in the streets, Angel had pulled Pentious out of the way of an explosion, and now they were both trying to find good place to take cover. "If we survive this, I swear I'm gonna kill that bee," Angel yelled as him and Pentious hid behind a destroyed car. "Agreed." Sir Pentious yelled as he covered his head. As they hit, a imp-looking demon down the street fired at them with a bazooka, sending a rocket at them. But before the rocket could hit them, a mound of sand caught it and swallowed it before it exploded, sending sand everywhere and saving Angel and Sir Pentious. "What the F was that?" the imp-looking demon yelled, seeing this. "Who the F said you could hurt my roommates?" Shikaku asked as he announced his presence. "Who's the shrimp?" the imp asked, looking at the other demons with him. "Yeah, I thought imps were short, but wow, this guy makes you look tall," one of the other demons said to the imp before they all started to laugh loudly. Shikaku's eyebrows started to twitch violently at this as what looked like a sandstorm started to form in the sky. "You morons better take cover," Kurama yelled down to them. "Over here." Husk yelled at them as he opened the door to the building the others were in as. Angel and Sir Pentious quickly ran over and into the building as what looked like a massive sandstorm started to approach the neighborhood, Pentious grabbing Niffty as they ran. "Who the F are you calling short?" Shikaku roared as he unleashed his sandstorm on all the demons and started to crush them all with his sand, sending blood and gore flying everywhere in the neighborhood, killing dozens of demons and burying the neighborhood in sand. "Ha! Let's see you talk SHT now, mother effer." Gahahahahaha. Shikaku yelled as he laughed maniacally at the destination he caused, while the others watched this from the rooftop with wide eyes. "Holy SHT," Angel said as he had no words for this. "Yeah, my little brother people," Kurama said with a sigh as Shikaku continued to laugh. Niffty watched this from nearby as she gained sparkles of wonder in her eye, watching Shikaku obliterating demons unfortunate enough to be in his way before she smiled madly. Oh, he's a really bad boy," said with manic glee. "Oh, this will end well," Husk said with a groan as he took out a good bottle of booze and started to drink it after hearing Niffty say this. "You better share some of that," Kurama said as he felt like keeping those two apart was gonna be quite a task. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 2. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author KFB Anime 87 on fanfiction.net. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.